Hi everyone, Michael Rubenfeld here. How are you? I hope you're doing well. It is Wednesday, a beautiful day. It seems like the weather in Krakow, anyways, is just going to be getting warmer and warmer and warmer. Today, I wanted to talk about a film that I saw a couple days ago, The Zone of Interest. And if you've not seen the film, I highly recommend it. I've been thinking about the film kind of nonstop, and I had so many emotions and thoughts connected to this film. I think it's one of the best films I've seen in a long time. And I say that because, well, both of what an intelligent piece of filmmaking it was, but not only was it such a great piece of filmmaking, the context in the world, the global context in which the film was released into, um, made the film so startlingly relevant that it's been keeping me up at night. The film by Jonathan Glazer is about Höss. I don't know how to pronounce these German last names. Ho umlaut ss, who was the creator of Auschwitz, and then also quite infamously came up with the idea to swiftly murder 700,000 Hungarian Jews in Auschwitz. The film is about him and his wife Hedwig, and basically the majority of the film takes place on the premises of their home, which was adjacent to Auschwitz. And what's so incredible about the film is that you never actually go into Auschwitz. You stay entirely inside their home. And the film is an investigation, an examination of how our zones of interest, meaning the things that we care about, allow us to not care about other things, which is a very simplified way of describing what the film is. But essentially, we watch this family and their kind of domestic concerns, which are the concerns that a lot of people have: the well-being of one's children, etc., etc. But this is all happening really well on the other side of the walls, separating their garden from the Auschwitz camp. Hundreds of thousands of people were being murdered, and it's a startling film because it humanizes its protagonists in a way that's deeply uncomfortable, because when protagonists are humanized well, we see ourselves in them. And I certainly saw myself, or at least felt myself, in these characters. The film, for me, really operated as a challenge where I couldn't stop thinking about some of the questions that I've been actually having about Jewish people. Now, Jonathan Glazer now infamously made a speech at the Oscars. Jonathan Glazer is the director of the film, and he basically said something along the lines of he was standing on stage as a Jewish person, not wanting his Jewishness and the Holocaust to be a justification for the atrocities happening in Gaza. That's a kind of paraphrasing of the speech that he gave. And wow, it caused a real uproar amongst the Jews. My first response to him saying that was that I was glad he said something. Partly because I have been really struggling with the amount of rhetoric that I'm seeing coming from Jewish people that's in defense of the Jewish people, that's connected to the call for the release of hostages, that's connected to blaming Hamas for what's happening in Gaza. But I've been feeling really, really disturbed at how many Jewish people I perceive as somehow being okay with what's happening to people in Gaza. And I think a lot of people would say, no, well, we're not okay. It's not okay. But it's Hamas's fault. They're blaming Hamas. I can't understand how, well, to be honest, I somehow can understand somehow this justification that a lot of Jewish people have because of how many Jewish people are concerned about the lives of Jewish people. I too am concerned about the lives of Jewish people. What happened to the Jews in Israel was awful, but the fact is that Netanyahu and Israel's army and government dealing with the murder of innocent people with the murder of innocent people. It just seems like people genuinely are okay with that. And I didn't understand it as well as I seem to now as a result of watching The Zone of Interest. Because you're watching, this family be okay with the murder of innocent people in Auschwitz because it's connected to a cause, the Nazi cause, the Nazi belief system that this is what has to happen. And so these murders, these deaths are required. They're just required in order to achieve the goal, the Nazi goal. In Gaza, there is a goal of eliminating Hamas in order to keep the Jewish people safe, but there are murders of innocent Palestinian people that people are okay with. People seem to be okay with. Not everyone, of course, not everyone, but I've been so startled at how many Jews are not calling for the end of the murder of Palestinians. I understand that Hamas has to be wiped out, but there's just so much blood on the hands of Israel right now, in order to keep Israeli citizens safe. I've heard that Netanyahu's polls are higher than ever. And I just can't help wondering if it's just because, the zone of interest for many Jewish people are that of keeping the Jewish people safe, which means that while perhaps not desirable, the death of so many innocent Palestinian people is acceptable for people. And I'm disturbed by it. Yet the film zone of interest somehow helped me understand that, perhaps it's just human nature. And if that's true, what does that mean? Like perhaps it's inevitable that war will always happen and others will always be killed. And at the end of the day, it's simply about the survival of the fittest, and there's nothing that we can do to combat that biological reality. I don't know if that's true, but is that just who we actually are? Is that just who we actually are as humans? You tell me. What do you think? See the film if you haven't. And I'm here to say that basically I'm not okay with what's happening, but I wonder if I would be more okay with what was happening if I was living in Israel. I wonder if I would be more okay with what was happening if my daughter was one of the people killed by Hamas. I don't know. Like and subscribe for more content like this, and I love you.